Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening everybody. I'm here at Electronica Live with Jean Labrosse, CEO of Micrium. I'm very lucky to get some of his time. Jean, it's a massive show. I've had some opportunity to look around the show floor, and I guess one of the things I'm seeing is a traditionally hardware focused show, but an ever increasing amount of software that's being displayed on all of the stands. What's that kind of telling us about the way the industry is going and the importance software is playing in electronics?
Well, when you look at it, you'd be hard-pressed to find a design nowadays that doesn't use a microprocessor. So automatically, by definition, microprocessor means software. So you really can't design a new product without a microprocessor. That, of course, requires software. The other thing is, if you look at the most design, 60% of the cost in a design goes into software. So big influence. Also, a lot of the feature set, a lot of the value added is found in software. So if you look at the products like the iPod, the iPad, the iPhone specifically, what makes the product quite unique is the software, not as much as the hardware. You see all these applications that are available on these products mostly because of software. The other thing you'll find is that really the CPU has become irrelevant. It has become irrelevant for a number of years now. If you look at all the software that goes into it, most programmers program in C. They don't program in assembly language. So the instruction set is really irrelevant because compilers have been isolating the instruction set for years. So everybody writes in C, C++, very few people write in assembly language.
Okay, and I think you kind of touched there on a subject that I know you're going to be presenting tomorrow at the Embedded Platforms Conference. Without giving too much away, can you just give us a little flavour of what you're going to be talking about tomorrow? Because it's a pretty topical subject for discussion.
Well, pretty much the same thing. The fact that a lot of designs today are being started with the software first, and then as the product evolves, selection of the software comes way later in the design cycle. So a lot of people have come up with the specifications of the product. A lot of those products nowadays require connectivity, they require graphical user interface, they require USB stacks, TCP/IP stack, file systems, very complex software, and then there's always a chip that you'll be able to find that will satisfy those requirements.
And I guess one of the questions that's going to be close to your heart in particular is, if we see the rise of software and it needs to be developed by engineers that perhaps don't have that pure software background, how can people like you make it easier for perhaps people who are more on the hardware side, perhaps more doing some RTL level design? How can they start to use some of the tools that really today's systems need?
Well, we really can't help too much the RTL type folks, because that's a whole different ball game. But certainly the people who are doing MCU-based or CPU-based products, those we could help because we build a whole infrastructure around the chip. So, for example, if you have an Ethernet controller, you automatically need a TCP/IP stack. If you have USB device controller or USB host controller, you need a USB device and or a USB host stack. So those are very complex pieces of software. Now the drivers are pretty much isolating the higher level stacks from the chips, but these drivers are fairly complex, even though the software on top of it is even more complex.
Okay. It's middle of November 2012 now. We're going to be going into the new year in just 6, 7, 8 weeks. Can you give us an idea of, or maybe an indication of what will be coming out from Micrium in 2013?
Yeah, there's a couple of things we're working on. First of all, we'll be releasing our IPv6 stack towards the beginning of the year. We're also constantly working on a product called Micro-C Probe. It's a data visualization tool that allows you to look at variables at runtime and displays them as gauges, meters, bar charts, plots, all kinds of different things. And you're able also to change the value of variables at runtime in your target. So it's kind of like not really a debugger per se, it's a data visualization tool. The other thing we'll be doing is more books. We've been doing quite a lot of books. We have so far 12 books that we've written using Micro-C OS3, Micro-C TCP/IP. We've introduced a USB book recently at the Renaissance Developers Conference a couple months ago, last month actually, and very, very popular books.
Cool. One final question, because I know you're an extremely busy man. Before we managed to sort of sit down, I took a quick look at Micrium.com and saw a very interesting story about the Curiosity, the new NASA's new Mars rover. What's all that about? That's cool.
Well, it's pretty cool. NASA JPL selected MicroSUS-2 to be powering one of the most important experiments on the Mars rover, called the sample analysis of Mars. And basically what it does is it collects samples of the ground, blows it up or pulverizes the ground and creates gases, and through spectrometry it analyzes the gases to find out what the composition of the soil. And the interesting thing is they use the MicroSUS-2 product as is. They didn't change not one line of code. So it's the exact same code that runs on all these other products that we see here on Earth.
Which I guess is testament to the code base, the verification side of the software.
Right.
So Micrium's in space, that's cool.
I like to say we collect dust on Mars.
Lovely. Okay, great to have you here, John. Thank you for your time, and yeah, look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.